All right, I've been a bit overboard with all of this, but I think it was a lot of fun. So let me go through my session right there and do a mix breakdown, production breakdown for my rescore of the Halloween ending scene. If you haven't already, go watch it. I'll put a link somewhere in the video description. And if you haven't seen the original movie, well, spoilers ahead. Obviously, I love this movie. I like that the scene is written so there is always a tension rising, but it's cut with more quiet moments. I try to mirror that with the music while keeping some tension in some of those quiet moments. All right, let's begin here with the keys. Here I tried to recreate a music theme that was reminiscent of the Halloween theme. So it's almost the same notes but played differently. I used my MiniFreak right there to do that. The way I used it is that there is a lot of hidden tracks in Logic. If I press H, those tracks appear. They are all deactivated. They are the MIDI tracks I used during the composition process. So if I activate it, you can see the MiniFreak plugin right there. Let's link that to the actual MiniFreak. That's really a feature I enjoy with the MiniFreak. That way I can compose with the plugin and then I can record the audio directly from the hardware. And it sounds really a bit different. So you'll see as the session goes, sometimes I recorded the MiniFreak and sometimes I just kept the plugin because it was not like a really important instrument or an important part for the music. Okay, below the keys you'll find a retro pad also from the MiniFreak. Okay, also I think you already noticed, but I put a miniature of the video right there so you can follow where we are in the video. Below that I have some taiko drums from Apocalypse Percussion Micro from Sound Iron. It sounds good, it's simple, they go crescendo to increase the tension in the scene. As you can see, I added more pieces in the end to increase the intensity. To go through the next section, there is a cymbal swell directly from Addictive Drums. Super simple. There is also a bit of sound design. So it starts with when Michael is rising in the background. And this idea started actually with, let me go up quite a bit. There's a guitar right there which does a bend with the vibrato. Let's hear that. The sound comes from Archetype Noli. So I use this amp, this cab, just a bit of EQ. I transposed it 4 semitones down because at the time when I recorded the guitar, I did not have the fixed tonality for the piece. I also used the included doubler because I didn't need to record 2 guitars for that. That's just for the effect and it works fine. And I just added a fuzz in front of that so it gets extra dirty. So with the sound effects, sound like that. Really gross. I like that. Also, as you can see up there, I put a lot of markers. It's when I imported the video and Logic. I basically put a marker for everything that happened on the track. That way, after I found the tempo, I could try to match the tempo and the events with the beat. As you can see here, we switch scene on the beat. So it was a lot of back and forth and playing with the tempo. So here's the tempo map. Goes around 130, 135. So the differences are just here to make some events fall right on the beat. And I had some issue with that sometimes, and I'll show you later what I did. Then on to the next section. It's a more quiet moment, but I try to keep the tension anyway. All right, so it's the whole section right there. I have some cellos playing. It's from Spitfire Audio Symphony Orchestra Discover. It's free, it's fun. So I selected the cellos with the tremolo. I just can't help to imagine the cello players like playing super fast for this piece. Well, anyway, that's just me. To complement that, I have a low drone courtesy of the MiniFreak plugin. I'm just playing with the cutoff right there, and I have a pulse synth also from the MiniFreak. And this time you'll see I'm playing with the envelope amount to create the sound. The pad is also playing the high pitch note you can hear, and I just modified the pitch with the pitch wheel. There is just a bit of sound effects right there. So as you can hear, I just have a transition effect to go from the previous scene to this one. And I just put a sound effects to complement Michael rising in the background. Then up there, I have the whole band that's going to play on the next section. Here I introduced them in the background, so there is some automation for the reverb and for the EQ. With a cymbal swell as well to go to the next section. Then for this scene where Michael grabs Laurie, I went a bit overboard with the metal thing, but I like that. So you'll find drums. You have the bass that follows the kick. And the guitar as well, really simple. Actually, I have two pairs of guitars, one that does the rhythm. Funny thing is that I barely recorded anything for this part. The part I recorded for real was just this one. So it's looped and then I just time stretched it so it's faster, and then I pitched it up for the different notes. So yeah, why complicate it, right? And I think that way it just sounds a bit unusual and not human. So I think that goes well with Michael. So it's really tight and short rhythm burst. And below that, I have another guitar. All of that is complemented with the pulse synth that also follows the rhythm. A bass pad from the MiniFreak that also does the harmony. There is a bit of pumping on that. I use a track spacer that I got not a long time ago. It's really useful. Here I think the whole band goes through the track spacer bus. That way that synth doesn't overthrow the whole band. Like when it's off, you can hear the synth is just overpowering the whole band, and I didn't want that. So yeah, really useful tool. I'm using it a lot in the whole session, and it's really cool. You can really use it just for subtle effects, for mixing, but also for more pumping and present effect if you want to. There is also the return of the taiko drums. Then I break the tension with the music when Michael puts his mask back on and Loomis points his gun at him. So there is my low drone with some automation on the cutoff. And down here you also find a sound effects to go with that. Just to keep a bit of tension at this point in the scene. Then 2 more sound effects when Michael goes back on the screen, because, well, he's not dead. And this one. Together they sound like that. It goes with a distorted bass that comes from the MiniFreak as well. The notes are timed with the gunshots. There is also some guitar to go with that. I forgot to show you that I used Archetype Noli for those guitar tones. Tube Screamer, 5150, the V30 cab, a bit of EQ, and that's it. When Michael is getting shot, I also have a bit of taiko drum, just for intensity. And they end on the first beat when Michael falls onto the grass. There is also a pad. I try using the maximum of the same instruments to create a continuity during the whole scene. And this pad actually does the same note as the guitars, or vice versa. I'm not sure which one came first. With the guitars. The cellos are back at it again. Then you have this scene where you see Michael on the ground. He's been shot and he fell, so he's obviously dead, you know. So I just put some really low string ensemble right there. Just to release the tension. They're from Logic string ensemble, which sounded great for that application, and not that much processing, just a bit of compression, EQ, a bit of reverb, and that's it. And all the way down, oh yeah, I put a room tone because there was nothing left on the original audio that I could use for the scene. So it's just that step above no sound. So it's just a bit of noise, just so there is nothing at this point. Because what I did is use Logic Stem Splitter, which worked quite well. I was really surprised with that scene, to remove the music and the speech, so I could use them independently and have more flexibility with what I did. So let's take the grab and struggle scene, for example. The original sounds like that. And with Logic, I could extract just the speech and the vocal effects. So for this exercise, I think that works really well. I just had to replace the trigger on Loomis's gun because it was just caught with the music on the extract. So yeah, never mind. One more thing the stem extract allowed me to do is that I have a bus system for the whole band. It goes in that bus. My drones goes in that bus right there. And all the music tracks goes to the music bus. That way I could do some processing just for the music and the sound effects. And that also allowed me to put track spacer on that bus and sidechain it with all my speech and vocal bus, which is right there. So when someone talks, it just cut dynamically those frequencies in the music bus, like in there.
What's the boogeyman? As a matter of fact, it was.
Just to be sure that the dialogue keeps up front. So for that scene, the keys comes back with almost the same theme as the beginning. Just a reminder. And I played it so there is no music when they talk.
What's the boogeyman? As a matter of fact, it was.
Or not that much, but I try to keep that into account. So I'm using the low drone as well. With a slight rise of the cutoff at the end to make the transition into the next section. Same thing with the pulse right there. There's also a cymbal swell with the drums that goes into the next section. And here I had some trouble with the beat part because everything before is on the beat 4/4, and right there I couldn't make the scene change fall on that beat right there. So I decided to keep it that way and put my impact on that beat and start the next musical theme on the next bar anyway. So there are the drums and the taiko drums. There is also a bit of sound effects done there. A bit of eerie, spooky effects. And I think those are some hits. I'm not sure why I doubled them. But well. So all together, it's quite a nice hit. I'm really happy with that one. There is also a bit of a riser. And that one. Then let's get back up on the session. I'm really happy with the result of that section. There is a callback of the theme at the beginning with the keys. With a bit more of despair in the melody. Same thing with the pad. I used RC20 to give it that really retro vibe with the vibrato and everything. Then this pad right there just does the root notes. And it adds a bit more of bass and sub-bass in the second part of that section. And I used some string ensemble to emphasize some notes that are playing on the keys. I think it works really great in the context of the mix. Adds a bit more of epicness to everything. And during the second part of the section, there is a small sound effects just to fill in the blanks and to fill the mix just a bit. And speaking of sound effects, look what goes to the next section. So I have a riser, a transition, all together. So you can see the scene change really happen on the beat. It's really synced. And before we go to the next section, yes, there is a call from the drum. And then we go to the Halloween theme. I did a different track for the kick at the end because I wanted something different from the metal kick I had at the beginning. So the metal kick sounded like that. And I wanted something a bit different, so now it sounds like that. And there is that weird effect that comes from the room and the bus in Addictive Drums too. It's like the ghost of the kick is coming to haunt you back. Then I have the bass right there that comes from the MiniFreak. I programmed a macro so I could play with the level of distortion that goes into it. Gets really distorted, and it's also doubled with his bus that goes to a guitar amp archetypally, but I just used the cab and a bit of EQ. It adds just what it lacked in the low end. It's fun. And then for the Halloween theme, the classic Halloween theme, I used hybrid keys with the ambient planet, which sounded really great for what I wanted. And it's doubled with a MiniFreak patch. And to add a bit of spookiness on top of all of that, I used a guitar. So yeah, I compressed the signal first, then archetype Gojira. I used the octave possibilities to put something an octave up and some octaves down. And there is some distortion, phaser, chorus effects before the amp. Here's the cab, a bit of EQ, and I also used the delay and the reverb with the shimmer. So if you deactivate all the effects, it sounds like that. Those are simply harmonics on the guitar. And if you add the octaves effects, the pre-effects right there, and finally the time effects at the end, you have a haunting guitar for the Halloween theme. And that's all the part I have for you today. Here's everything. It's quite simple. Just try to have some of the same elements to create a continuity in the whole scene, a bit of metal, because that's why we're here. Oh, and there is some leftovers right there I could show you. Those were some kind of the first ideas I had with the band part, and it was a bit too metal, too intense for the scene. Yeah, sure, why not? let's just hear those double kicks once more. All right, great. Maybe I try to do something with that. I think it could be the beginning of a nice beat or something. Anyway, here was my session for my rescore of the ending scene of Halloween. If you want to see more rescored or reimagined scene or trailers from movies or video games, I have this playlist for you right there. I hope you found this video helpful at some extent. I thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.